They made the music the whole world loved, but they never saw the money. Some of them died broke, some of them lost everything, some of them never even owned the songs they wrote. And the worst part? Most people have no idea it ever happened. This is not a celebration video. This is the truth that the music industry tried to bury. These artists gave their voice, their time, their soul, and the system took it all. You think you know reggae history. But what you know is only what they wanted you to know. Today we go deeper. 10 artists, 10 stories, one ugly truth. Stay right here because number 1 on this list will change the way you hear reggae forever. Number 10, Toots Hibbert, Toots and the Maytals. Toots Hibbert, the man who gave the music its name. Close your eyes for a second. Picture Kingston, Jamaica. 1968, the streets are hot. The air smells like dust and jerk smoke. There's a sound system somewhere not far away, bass rolling through the zinc fence like a heartbeat. And somewhere in a recording booth, a short man with a massive voice is singing his lungs out. That man was Frederick Toots Hibbert. And what he was recording that day, it would change everything. In 1968, Toots and his group, the Maytals, dropped a track called Do the Reggae. Oh, yeah, it is you. Most people don't realize this, but that song is literally where the word reggae comes from. Right there, that one record. Toots didn't just make music, he named the whole genre. The song was recorded for Byron Lee's label, and it blended ska, rock steady, and something brand new that nobody had a name for until Toots gave it one. The Maytals went on to record some of the most beloved songs in Caribbean music history. Pressure Drop, Monkey Man, 5446 was my number. Songs that sound just as alive today as they did 50 years ago. Their Pressure Drop was featured on the Harder They Come soundtrack in 1972, one of the most important reggae films ever made, and introduced their music to a whole new international audience. Here's something most people don't know. Before Toots was famous, he spent time in prison on a marijuana charge in the mid-1960s. When he came out, he channeled that whole painful experience into his music, raw, real, emotional. Some historians say that prison time is what gave his voice that extra hurt, that extra soul. You can hear it, you really can. Coming up, the crown prince of reggae, a man Bob Marley himself bowed down to. Don't go anywhere. Number 9, Burning Spear intro line. If you've ever sat down and listened to a Burning Spear record late at night, really listened, you know it feels like more than music. It feels like a message from somewhere ancient. Like the ancestors are speaking through the bass and the drums, deep roots, spiritual, heavy. The kind of sound that makes you think about who you are and where you came from. Winston Rodney was born in St. Anne, Jamaica, the same parish as Bob Marley. Yeah, he started recording in the early 1970s, first with Studio One, Jamaica's most iconic label, and then with Island Records. His 1975 album, Marcus Garvey is one of the most critically important albums in reggae history. It's named after the Pan-African leader Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and every single track on that album is a meditation on African history, Black liberation, and resistance. Rolling Stone magazine has placed it among the greatest albums ever made across any genre, not just reggae, in any genre. That's how powerful this record is. Burning Spear has won multiple Grammy Awards, including a Grammy for Best Reggae Album for Jah Is Real in 2009. He is one of the few reggae artists still performing at his original standard decades later. The original Marcus Garvey album was recorded at Channel One Studio in Kingston. The recording budget was incredibly small. And yet the album sounds enormous, like it was recorded in a cathedral. That's not tricks or technology. That's talent. That's conviction. And stay with me, because at number 7, we're talking about a man whose talent was so undeniable that reggae's biggest star called him the Crown Prince. That story is next. Number 8, a Sizzla. The 1990s roots revival, Kingston is buzzing, dancehall is loud and slick, but a new wave of spiritual fire is pushing back. You're in a sound system yard somewhere in Augusttown, East Kingston. The bass is shaking the ground. And a young man steps to the mic and the whole place goes quiet because what he's saying feels like scripture. Sizzla burst onto the scene in 1997 with back-to-back albums Praise Ye Jah, Kalonji, and Black Woman and Child, all in the same year. That alone is almost unbelievable. 3 serious, fully realized albums in 12 months. His voice is fierce. His lyrics are deeply rooted in Rastafarian theology, African identity, and Black pride. Black Woman and Child became an anthem for a generation. It was produced by Bobby Digital, was one of the most important reggae producers of the era, and it connected with audiences who were tired of slackness and wanted something with real weight and meaning. In total, Sizzla has released over 60 studio albums. That may be one of the highest studio album counts of any artist in any genre in modern music history. Some of those records are inconsistent, but at his peak, Sizzla was untouchable. And Sizzla is a devout Bobo Ashanti Rastafarian, one of the stricter mansions of Rastafari. That spiritual discipline is what drives the fire and intensity in his music. He doesn't perform for entertainment, he performs as an act of faith. You feel that when you listen. Outside of the reggae world, Sizzla is barely known. The sheer volume of his output has made it hard for casual fans to find his best work. And some of his more controversial lyrical content has kept him off international mainstream platforms at times, but his core catalog from 1997 to 2005 is as good as anything roots reggae has ever produced. Up next, a man who transformed himself completely. He walked away from one kind of music and built something far more powerful. That story is right after this. Number 7, Capleton.
Make my light shine, always be in the right place.
Capleton is a dance hall artist. Slick, stylish, big on the sound system circuit, but there's a restlessness in him, something building. Then in 1994, something shifts completely. He becomes a fire-burning, Rastafarian roots man, and the music he starts making is on a completely different level. This is not a performance, this is a conversion. After his spiritual transformation, Capleton recorded I Testament in 1997, widely considered a masterpiece of late 90s roots reggae. Then came More Fire in 2000, which doubled down on his Rastafarian fire with a ferocity that was almost confrontational. His chanting style, half singing, half preaching, was unlike anything else in the game at the time. He worked with producers like Dave Kelly and Bobby Digital and was one of the key voices in the Roots revival that balanced out the harder dancehall sounds of the era. His influence on artists like Sizzla and Anthony B is direct and acknowledged. Before his transformation, Capleton had a completely different artist name and sound.
Love not only sometime, tell the youths how overcome time.
He essentially retired that persona and started fresh. Most artists don't survive reinvention. Capleton didn't just survive it, he thrived.
No make no pagan come please you farm. After the storm, it must be a...
That kind of courage in the music business is incredibly rare. The same fire that makes Capleton's music so intense also made him a controversial figure.
It's like I know someday.
Some of his earlier post-conversion lyrics were seen as too harsh, and that controversy kept him out of certain international markets and media platforms.
Keep my light shining bright. Seek and search and you will find it.
But strip away the controversy, and you have one of the most passionate, committed vocalists in reggae's history.
From all this misery, I'm here.
Number 6 is coming up. This is where we get into somebody who Bob Marley himself crowned with a title. You do not want to miss this one. Number 6, Dennis Brown.
My head is anointed, and my cup runneth over.
Dennis Brown, the crown prince of reggae, and that title wasn't given by a journalist or a music executive, it was given by Bob Marley. Imagine sitting in a record shop in Kingston in the late 1970s.
Anointed, and my cup runneth over.
The listening booth is playing something smooth and soulful as a voice like velvet, warm and perfect, riding over a deep roots rhythm. The people in the shop stop talking, they just listen. That's the effect Dennis Brown had on people everywhere, every time. Dennis Brown began recording at the age of 11 years old, and already one of the most gifted voices Jamaica had ever heard. He was a child prodigy in the most literal sense. By the time he was a teenager, he was recording for Studio One, reggae's most prestigious label, and holding his own against artists twice his age. Over his career, he recorded more than 75 albums, a staggering body of work. His voice could carry lovers rock, deep roots, and gospel all at once. Like songs like Here I Come, Love Has Found Its Way, and Money in My Pocket were massive hits in Jamaica and in the UK reggae scene throughout the late 70s and 80s. Money in My Pocket reached number 14 on the UK singles chart in 1979, that making Dennis Brown one of the few reggae artists to score a mainstream UK chart hit outside of the Marley/Island Records universe. Dennis Brown passed away in 1999 at just 42 years old. Yeah, the circumstances were deeply sad. Years of personal struggles had taken a physical toll. Because he died before the digital era fully took hold, his catalog was never properly reissued or promoted to younger audiences. Outside of hardcore reggae circles, his name is barely known. That is a tragedy, because this man was and remains one of the greatest vocalists this music has ever seen.
For the days of my life,
We are halfway through the list now, and it only gets bigger from here. At number 5, the man who introduced reggae to the entire world before Bob Marley even had a record deal, the pioneer, coming up. Number 5, Jimmy Cliff.
As I traveled along,
He was the first international star reggae ever had before Bob Marley was on the cover of Rolling Stone, before reggae had a Grammy category, before the world even knew how to spell the word.
and I merely survived because
Jimmy Cliff was already out there carrying the music on his back, knocking on doors that had never been opened for this kind of sound.
it didn't say why. Well,
In 1972, Jimmy Cliff starred in the film The Harder They Come, both as an actor and as the creator of its soundtrack. Yeah, that film and that soundtrack did more to spread reggae music internationally than almost anything that had come before it.
on your own, my woman.
Songs like Many Rivers to Cross, You Can Get It If You Really Want, and the title track became touchstones for a generation of music fans in the UK, the US, and beyond.
Been playing for time.
Before Marley, Cliff had already scored hits in Europe. His 1969 single, Wonderful World, Beautiful People, reached the top 10 in the UK.
Cliffs of
He was doing what nobody else had managed, getting reggae into mainstream radio playlists. In 2010, Jimmy Cliff was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He was only the second reggae artist ever inducted at that point, and he absolutely deserved every moment of that recognition because Marley's rise was so extraordinary and so total. Jimmy Cliff's foundational contribution is often treated as a footnote. But here's the truth. Jimmy Cliff prepared the ground that Marley planted seeds in. Without The Harder They Come, there may not have been a global audience ready for Catch a Fire. His role in reggae's story is irreplaceable.
But just where to begin? Been playing.
Retention tag number 4 is a founding father, a man who was there at the very beginning of the greatest reggae band that ever lived, and whose solo work stands tall on its own. Don't touch that dial. Number 4, Bunny Wailer. Three boys growing up in Trenchtown, Kingston, sharing a yard, sharing a dream. Those three boys were Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, and Bunny Livingston. Together they became the Wailers.
Anywhere at all. When I ask, come on.
And together they built the foundation of modern reggae. But Bunny's chapter of this story is one that most people never fully learned.
I young's hear him.
Bunny left the Wailers in 1973, right before they became global superstars. He refused to tour internationally. The reasons were personal, spiritual,
Children, and then take them away.
and rooted in his Rastafarian beliefs. He did not want to leave Jamaica. Some people saw it as a mistake. Bunny saw it as a matter of principle. His first solo album, Blackheart Man, released in 1976, is one of the most revered albums in reggae history.
He's a black heart man, y'all. He's a black heart man. Growing and learning.
Deep, soulful, spiritual, and profoundly personal, it is considered by many critics to be among the 5 greatest reggae albums ever recorded.
Growing and learning, gathering for myself.
Bunny went on to win 3 Grammy Awards for Best Reggae Album in 1991, 1995, and 1996. Each are 3 Grammys. Most people don't even know he had a solo career, let alone a Grammy-winning one.
It brought me, yes, it's brought me a little common sense.
After Bob Marley and Peter Tosh both passed away, Marley in 1981, Tosh in 1987, Bunny Wailer carried the legacy of the original Wailers entirely on his own shoulders for over 3 decades.
Like little children do. She said, be careful of the string.
He was the last living link to that original story. When Bunny passed away in March 2021, that original chapter of reggae finally closed. It was the end of an era in the most literal sense.
Like the black heart man, y'all. Just like the black heart man.
Yet, now listen, number 3 is where we stop and unpack something serious. A story of courage, controversy, and a man who refused to bend for anyone. This is the moment in the video I told you about at the very beginning. Stay right there. Number 3, Peter Tosh.
Legalize it.
Remember at the top of this video, I told you there was a story that changed the way reggae was seen by the world. A story about power, about money, about a man who refused to be silent, even when silence would have saved his life. This is that story.
Some call it the weed.
Close your eyes. Kingston, 1976. A man walks on stage at the Smile Jamaica concert, a show meant to calm political tensions in the country. Bob Marley is there. The world is watching.
Legalize it, yeah.
And Peter Tosh gets up and, in front of the Prime Minister of Jamaica, openly criticizes the government and smokes a spliff on stage in public. On national television, that is the kind of man Peter Tosh was. Peter Tosh was a founding member of the Wailers. Without him, there are no Wailers. He was one of the key architects of the band's sound, a skilled guitarist, a brilliant songwriter, and a vocalist who could match Bob Marley note for note.
Singers smoking.
That when the Wailers went international and signed to Island Records in the early 1970s, Tosh grew increasingly frustrated. In interviews from that period, he spoke about feeling that his songwriting contributions were not properly recognized.
To legalize it.
He felt that the band's identity was being shaped around Marley's persona at the expense of other voices. There are different versions of how that tension played out. But what is clear is that Peter left the group in 1974 and went solo.
I man will advertise it.
His debut solo album, Not to Legalize It, in 1976 was immediately banned by the Jamaica Broadcasting Corporation. The title alone tells you why.
Instruments too.
The album was a direct, unapologetic call for the legalization of marijuana, framed through the lens of Rastafarian spirituality and human rights.
Even my lawyer too.
In 1977, his follow-up album, Equal Rights, went even further, calling out racism, poverty, political corruption, and colonialism with the kind of directness that made industry executives very uncomfortable.
Philosophy on the black people, especially the people of Jamaica, because
Some people say the labels never quite knew how to market Peter Tosh. He was too real, too confrontational, too unwilling to smile for the camera.
And it even cure glaucomia.
In interviews, it's been said that even Rolling Stones Records, who signed him in 1977, struggled with how to position him commercially.
It's good for the flu.
Mick Jagger produced some of his tracks, and Tosh toured with the Rolling Stones, which gave him significant exposure. But the mainstream crossover moment never fully arrived.
Judges smoking.
Some people chase legacy, while Peter Tosh lived it, and the music he left behind proves it every single day. Retention tag 2 names left.
False eating.
Number 2 is a man who took everything reggae taught him and built something completely new and conquered the 21st century with it. Then we close with the one name that needs no introduction. Keep watching. Number 2, Damian Jr. Gong Marley. The youngest son of a legend and a legend in his own right. The early 2000s, hip-hop and reggae are starting to find each other in a serious way. Not just samples and features, a real, deep, creative conversation. And in the middle of that conversation, a young man from Kingston shows up with something that sounds like nothing anyone has ever heard before. Big bass, raw streets, conscious lyrics. And a voice that carries the weight of his family name without being crushed by it. Damian Marley released Welcome to Jam Rock in 2005, and it hit like a thunderclap. The title track sampled Carlton Livingston's Bruise and combined it with one of the hardest-hitting dancehall beats of the decade. It went to number 1 on Billboard's Reggae chart. It crossed over into hip-hop playlists. MTV played it. American radio played it, the whole world heard it, but Damian wasn't just a one-song artist.
The gangsters will do what they've got to. Don't think twice to. Don't let them spot.
His 2010 collaborative album with Nas' Distant Relatives was something genuinely historic. 2 worlds, Jamaican reggae and New York hip-hop, meeting on equal ground.
Use them waste it, when them waste it, and them get up gun.
The album debuted at number 5 on the Billboard 200. Critics called it groundbreaking, and they were right. He has won 2 Grammy Awards for Best Reggae Album for Welcome to Jam Rock in 2005 and Distant Relatives in 2011.
They call it murder. So welcome to Jam Rock.
Those awards were not given out of sympathy for his last name. He earned them. And Damian was just 12 years old when his father, Bob Marley, passed away.
Why we get blind by stardom, the king of all things of all.
He never really got to know him as a person, only through stories and music, and yet listen to how Damian talks about music, about Jamaica, about Rastafari. And you hear echoes of his father in every single word. That kind of inheritance, the spiritual kind, the musical kind, is something very rare and very beautiful.
East Coast, West Coast, and welcome to Jam Rock.
There is only one name left, one name that sits above all others. Yeah, a man whose music has sold over 250 million copies. A man whose face is on walls in Jamaica, in Ethiopia, in Japan, in Brazil. One name, you already know it. But let me tell you his story the right way. Number 1, Bob Marley and the Wailers. Robert Nesta Marley, Bob Marley, the greatest reggae artist who ever lived and one of the most important human beings who ever picked up a microphone. I want you to imagine something for me. You are sitting somewhere quiet. Maybe it's late at night. Maybe you have headphones on and a song starts playing. A song you have heard 100 times before and somehow it still hits you. Right in the chest, like it's new, like it was written specifically for you. That is the Bob Marley effect, and 50 years after his greatest recordings, that effect has not faded by a single degree. Born February 6th, 1945 in the parish of St. Anne, Jamaica, grew up in the poverty and complexity of Trenchtown, Kingston, formed the Wailers with Peter Tosh and Bunny Wailer in the early 1960s. Spent years building a sound, ska, rocksteady, roots reggae, that was slowly but unstoppably taking shape. While the album Catch a Fire in 1973 was the beginning of the international chapter. Island Records, Chris Blackwell, a new marketing approach that positioned reggae not as exotic novelty, but as serious roots music with a serious message. And from there, Natty Dread, Rastaman Vibration, Exodus, Kaya, Uprising, one great album after another. In 1999, Time magazine named Exodus the album of the century, not the best reggae album, not the best album of the 1970s. Like the best album of the entire century.
In this great future, you can't.
That is a statement that very few artists in any genre have ever come close to earning. His greatest hits compilation, Legend, released in 1984, 3 years after his death, has sold over 30 million copies worldwide.
As it was, logwood burning through the night.
It is the best-selling reggae album in the history of recorded music. It has never left the charts. Decades later, it still sells.
When we used to sit.
In 1994, Bob Marley was posthumously inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. His music has been covered, was sampled, and referenced by more artists than could ever be counted. He was awarded Jamaica's Order of Merit. He is the most recognizable Jamaican who has ever lived.
No woman, no cry. No.
Bob Marley passed away on May 11th, 1981. He was 36 years old. He died of cancer, a melanoma that had started under his toenail years before, which he had refused to treat due to his religious beliefs.
It was logwood burning through the night.
He was gone far too soon, but here's what I need you to understand. Bob Marley did not just make music. He gave people a language for what they were feeling when they had no other words. He told the poor that they had dignity.
No woman, no cry.
He told the oppressed that their liberation was coming. He told the whole world that love was stronger than power. Every time someone hears Redemption Song for the first time and cries, that is Bob Marley still speaking.
This great future, you can't.
Every time a young person in a country that has never even seen Jamaica picks up a guitar because of No Woman, No Cry, that is Bob Marley still teaching. The music does not die, it just keeps finding new people to save.